So as you can tell with some of the noise in the background, this is an active construction site. So we're sitting here in the midst of everything going on.
The bench we're sitting on is the addition to the art cottage, which has been a property the museum has been using for many years to teach art, which was the first phase of the creative complex.
And we're kind of starting to brainstorm about phase 2. And when we're doing that, we're working with the Gulf Coast Community Design Studio and Native Habitats, and we're working to get the community involved.
This is a very dense, long site that the idea is about educating people about different concepts with art, community, involvement. And so this will really be designed from the inside out, relating all the spaces from the inside to all the spaces from the outside, with the goal of making a holistic project where, yes, there's a building and yes, there's outside, but it's a blending of the two. It's a blending of the garden to create a space for people to thrive.
We're really just waiting to see what the community has to say. This space is not being designed for us, by us, it's being designed for the community.
We round up as many ideas and concerns the community, all the partners involved have, and then the whole project is designed in a way that essentially puts the jacket on the novel.
The buildings are important, but what's so important is the interaction with the landscape. So, this is inspired by and part of the Walter Anderson Museum, and so taking, Walter's love for nature and the outdoors and trying to give that love to the people who are using these buildings. It's just something that's really driving us and just driving the whole mission, I would say. What could this property be? And I think one of the most interesting things is talking about how we can create these little nodes of outdoor space that can be enjoyed. You kind of move fluidly from the interior to the exterior. The interior and the exterior start to blend, and that line starts to dissolve a little bit. And just talking about not coming to this site and just plopping a building down, which is something I think is the typical way of doing it, but coming to this site, really taking the time, studying the site, working with the partners on this project, working with the community, and figuring out what this site needs in conjunction with what the community needs.
We are surrounded on all sides by a tight, historically important neighborhood. And so as it relates to building community, a lot of this project from the street will be invisible. And so the idea is allowing people, encouraging people to move from the museum to the cottage, to the new building, to understand and appreciate all these little parts, and understanding that, once again, it's not a blank site. It's actually going to be woven into an existing fabric.
From the museum to the art cottage and back into this, what will be this new exciting space. So moving from the museum where it's, Walter's art, moving into the art cottage, where that front room in the art cottage, it's going to be preserved and brought back to as close to original as we can. And then as you kind of start to progress through the art cottage, it gets a little more contemporary. And then back onto this back porch, this really sets the literal stage for this new phase. And I think that's what's so exciting is it's a journey.
Where we're sitting will be amphitheater-like stairs, and the building will open up like a megaphone, essentially, once again, setting the stage for the new creative complex that will soon be put together and created through all the partnerships that we have.
Right now, we're just in the dreaming phase. That's how we start any project. It's just, what could this be? If the sky is the limit, what could we do to this site? What could we do for this community?
There have to be concepts, there have to be agreed upon ideas, and there have to be holistic directions before anything is actually drafted or put into an engineering form, because at the end of the day, once again, we're just putting skin on the idea. It has to be a solid, agreed upon direction before we ever sit down and do what oftentimes people think architects actually do.
Part of the program of this building, we're hoping, has some sort of STEAM function, right? Like the blending of the old and the new, it's the blending of technology and art as well, the blending of technology and nature and art, all of those things coming together to create a really special project.